Here's something most people don't think about. Being a millionaire isn't always about how much you earn. It's about how you live, how you spend, and how you make decisions. Every single day. So I gave myself a challenge. Live like a millionaire, but only on $50 a day. No extra income, no shortcuts, just strict limits and millionaire-style habits. I thought it would feel luxurious, controlled, and maybe even inspiring. Today we will talk about I tried living like a millionaire on $50 a day. It didn't go as planned. So, before we start, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. 10. I realized $50 disappears fast. The first shock was how quickly $50 actually disappears. When I started tracking everything and tried to apply a millionaire mindset, I expected it to feel comfortable and controlled. But reality hit almost immediately. Even the most basic things started adding up faster than I imagined. Food, transport, small daily needs, everything slowly drained the budget without me even noticing at first. What felt like a decent amount of money in my head suddenly didn't feel that big in real life. 9. Luxury thinking doesn't fit a small budget. One of my goals was to think like someone wealthy, choosing quality over cheap options, and making smarter long-term decisions. But very quickly I realized something important. Luxury thinking doesn't always match a limited budget. On paper, it sounds simple to buy better things instead of cheap ones. But in real life, high quality and premium options cost significantly more. My $50 limit forced me to constantly rethink those choices. I couldn't just go for the best option every time, because the budget simply didn't allow it. That's when I understood that millionaire thinking isn't just about choosing quality, it's also about having the financial room to actually afford it without stress. Without that flexibility, even good intentions get limited by reality. 8. Every decision became stressful. As the challenge continued, I started noticing something unexpected. Every single spending decision started to feel heavier. Instead of feeling relaxed or rich, I became more aware of every purchase I made. Even small expenses required real thinking. Something as simple as buying food or paying for transport wasn't automatic anymore. It needed calculation and consideration. At first, I thought this would make me more disciplined, and in some ways it did. But it also made me realize how much mental comfort money actually provides. Money doesn't just buy things. It reduces stress, removes constant decision-making pressure, and gives you a sense of ease in daily life. Living on a strict $50 budget made that very clear. 7. I stopped spending on impulse. One of the first positive changes I noticed was that impulse spending almost disappeared. When you're working with a strict daily limit, you don't have the freedom to just buy things on a feeling. Every purchase suddenly needs justification. That small pause, just stopping to think before spending, starts happening automatically after a while. I began questioning whether I actually needed something, or if I just wanted it in the moment. And surprisingly, most of the time, I didn't end up buying it. This one shift alone changed my behavior more than I expected because it forced awareness into every decision instead of acting on habit. 6. I understood the difference between rich and wealthy thinking. Living on this budget made something very clear. Looking rich and being wealthy are completely different things. Rich spending is usually about appearance, status, and showing success to others. It's about what people see from the outside. But wealthy thinking is something deeper. It's about control, planning, and long-term decisions. It's about making sure money is used in a way that creates stability, instead of just temporary image. I realized that someone can look successful but still be financially unstable, while someone else can live simply but be building real wealth quietly in the background. 5. Social pressure became noticeable. Another thing I didn't expect was how strong social pressure can be, even on a small budget. When I was around other people, I started feeling the urge to spend more, just to match the situation, or avoid feeling different. It wasn't direct pressure, it was subtle. Watching others spend freely made me question my own limits. That experience made me realize how much financial behavior is influenced by environment and comparison. Often, we don't spend because we need something, we spend because we see others doing it. And once you notice that pattern, it becomes much easier to recognize and control it. 4. I became more aware of value. As the days went on, I stopped focusing only on price and started focusing more on value. When every dollar is limited, you can't afford to waste it on things that don't matter. I began asking myself whether something was truly worth it before spending. Not just can I afford this, but does this actually improve my situation? That shift changed how I looked at almost everything I bought. Some things suddenly felt unnecessary, while others felt more important than before. It made me realize that understanding value is far more powerful than simply looking for cheap options. 3. Comfort is expensive. One of the biggest lessons from this experience was realizing how expensive comfort really is. Things like fast food, easy transport, quick services, and instant convenience all seem small individually, but they add up quickly. When I was limited to $50 a day, I could clearly see how often I normally pay extra, just to avoid effort or save time. Comfort feels normal because we're used to it. But once you remove it, you start seeing its real cost. And that cost is often higher than we think. 2. Discipline became the only way. There was no room for randomness or careless decisions in this challenge. Every single dollar had a purpose. And if I spent without thinking, it affected the rest of the entire day. That pressure quickly forced me into a level of discipline I wasn't used to. Suddenly, even the smallest decisions started to matter more than I expected. Something as simple as a meal choice or a short trip required planning instead of impulse. I couldn't just go with the flow anymore. I had to think ahead, calculate, and stay within strict limits, whether I felt like it or not. At first, it felt restrictive, but over time, that pressure started to create structure. And that's when I realized something important. Discipline is not something you rely on only when things are easy. It's what holds everything together when resources are limited and every decision counts. 1. Millionaire habits don't work. The biggest realization from this entire experiment was simple, but very powerful. Mindset alone is not enough. You can think like a millionaire, adopt good habits, and make smart decisions, but without the right level of income, structure, or financial systems behind it, there are still real limitations to what you can actually do. Real wealth is not just about behavior. It's about behavior combined with resources, opportunities, and consistency over time. This experience showed me that habits are extremely important, but they don't work in isolation. They need a strong financial foundation to fully work the way people expect. In the end, I learned that thinking differently is the first step, but building something real requires more than just mindset. What do you think about our video? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.